Hey, it's Jess, and welcome to Smarter, a podcast where we can all get smarter together. I'm really excited about this podcast specifically because it's dealing with such a critical area in industry right now in healthcare. We have Eric Van Duren, who is the Chief Talent Officer from Secours Mercy Health, one of the largest healthcare providers in the country. And maybe you've heard this before, but in the healthcare industry, they talk about working at your top of license. It's often used in medical terms, but I think about that in the context of talent acquisition as well. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk to Eric about using technology to help his recruiters, his sourcers, and his talent experts work at the top of their license. So thank you for coming in and listening to Smarter. Hey, Eric, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk to you. We're going to be talking about healthcare and hiring in healthcare, which has got massive challenges, as we all know. But let's talk about you, your role, and Secours Mercy Health and the work that you're doing at that ministry.
Jess, friend, good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah,
good to be here today. So, Secours Mercy Health, multi-state, multi-country health system, one of the largest Catholic health systems in the nation. 60,000 plus employees, caring for communities, caring for patients. My role as Chief Talent Acquisition Officer, I oversee hiring across our beautiful ministry. So whether that's frontline recruiters, onboarding, marketing, branding, all kind of rolls up to me. Work alongside an incredible team to make that happen, and it can be tricky work at times, but it's incredibly gratifying, rewarding work.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great frame up. And I actually love the title, right? CTO, it really shows the focus that your organization, your ministry has on the people, because it's the people that make the difference. And I was with your team recently doing some strategy work, and I was profoundly impacted by the passion that your team has around finding great people to make sure that your ministry is serving the people that you take care of every single day, no matter where it's at whatever level in your business.
Absolutely. It blows me away every day. The passion of the team members, the importance of the work, and the core values that they always center around, because they know the importance of the work, employment, healthcare. As we hire individuals, these are also our patients. These are our community members. These are people we walk alongside in the grocery store. So bringing respect to the work and the passion, it keeps me motivated every day.
I think that's the holistic piece, I think, of your ministry and your team that I really appreciate. And then using a platform like Phenom to be able to get that word out is so important. So let's kind of frame up what's happening in the world of healthcare today.
Sure.
Newest stats are 300,000 healthcare providers left the workforce in 2021, according to some US stats. Baby boomers are obviously aging out and choosing to retire at this point. So you've got thousands of fewer candidates in a world where the demand for healthcare is increasing. So we all know that there's a huge challenge. I think it's really compelling, though, is that I see Secours Mercy Health leaning into the challenge, not leaning back from the challenge. Is that a fair way of looking at how you're doubling down on quality of care, but also the people that provide it?
I think that's fair. It's investing in people. It's investing in talent practices. When the environment gets complex, it can be very natural to go within a shell, to play defense. When in fact, it may be time to play offense. Get more aggressive, innovate, continue to push, because I go back to the value of the work and the importance, and to stay ahead of the curve, that's what needs to be done. You have to change ways. Former practices, it may have squeeze that juice, get as much as you can, you work harder, but at times you need to innovate, you need to partner, you need to head a new direction to do exactly that.
Yeah, so you've actually fairly recently implemented the Phenom platform to partner an AI-empowered technology with an incredible veteran staff to be able to ramp up what you're doing. Tell me about the vision that you had with your senior leadership on why you made that choice and how you're hoping to use that platform, because you're already seeing the impact. We'll talk about
Sure.
that, but talk about that choice and why that direction. Why not just more recruiters?
Yeah, so scalability for one, personalized experiences, I would say that's number two. So to scale, it's easier to scale if you have the right technology, the right platforms in place, whether you want to accelerate or decelerate versus just more individuals to help solve a problem. It's kind of more the special operations versus the infantry focus.
Yeah.
So building, having that vision for scalability, but also knowing connecting with candidates at a one-to-one level at scale is going to be more important than ever before. So how do you do that? Through artificial intelligence, through automation, freeing up recruiters' time so they can focus on the value that they need to be providing, which is connecting with people versus, let's say, scheduling an interview, going back and forth.
Recruiters do not like to schedule interviews. If they can stop doing that and automating that so you do the higher level work, I think it's so important. So talk about the scale in your ministry. Like, what are we talking about as far as the throughput, as far as the candidates that you need to hire to make sure that you're up and staffed?
Yeah, I mean, so it's 20,000+ hires each year, which means, hundreds of thousands of candidates to get to those hires. We're multi-state, multi-market, we're in our communities. So you have to find the balance of standard work, standard practices, doing it the best we can from what we know now, and hardwiring that into the foundation, to your technology, to your core values. So it's that trick. How do you offer a one-to-one experience at that hundred of thousands of interactions every day?
Yeah. So I love this idea of we have to build scale into our program, right? We cannot just trying to squeeze the same, same orange and get the same juice out of it. It's just not going to work. So reframing the work is one of those important things. Talk about your journey as a talent specialist, right? You've got just an amazing background and education in this. You're committed to talent. Talk about your journey of getting to the point where you started to realize that technology was a big answer for you as you think about it from kind of the strategy side as an executive.
Sure. So, over the years, a lot of learnings. Started from the ground and worked my way up here. And it just became clear maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, I don't know the exact number of years ago, but to continue to deliver the outcomes that we need to deliver, to go where our business is going to go, our ministry is going to go, knowing that, again, we have to be able to scale. You can't do it without technology. You can't do it without automation. You can't do it without unhandcuffing your employees and allowing them to work to their, I'm going to use kind of a healthcare term, top of license. Do what they are best at. Do where they bring the most value, which is this connection versus some of those administrative tasks that take away from the value and the importance of the work. So I mean, there is no turning back. This is the future is now, and you have to build, knowing that.
Yeah, I think that's so important because it can be that at the executive level, it can sometimes be the hardest group to have adoption happen because they are pretty entrenched in ways that they like to do things. So to hear about an executive who says, you know what, being able to change is the most important thing that I can do right now for the benefit of my team. I think it's really interesting though. I love that idea of top of license. That's a cool concept. Because I think one of the things that people get scared about is, well, if I use technology, it's going to replace. And I'm not hearing you say that. I'm hearing you say technology actually enhances and allows our people to level up to the work that they truly want to do in their job, rather than some of the job tasks that can be automated. And so you're seeing that really happen inside of your group as well?
Absolutely. So it enhances and it enables what our employees are able to do. I'm gonna go kind of more healthcare terms. Talent acquisition, over the past few years, it's easy to diagnose problems. We need more candidates. You need to secure our candidate pipelines. We need to provide care for our patients. But sometimes the prescription of those problems, can take you astray. So more people, squeeze more out of current processes. Well, that's not, necessarily the case. How can we enable, again, I said unhandcuff recruiters to work top of license, bring that value, and allow them to bring more joy to their jobs, which will be exactly that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think a lot of organizations, especially in the talent game, no matter what industry you're in, but certainly healthcare, they can get fixated on the problem. Yeah. And all of a sudden now we're just circling the problem, and that makes everybody feel good, but it doesn't get us to a solution. So talk about the Phenom platform at Bon Secours Mercy Health and how you're using it. Like how have you implemented, and what's the roadmap for you? So why did you start where you started? What's the roadmap of how you want to grow there? And then we'll start talking a little bit about some of the initial impacts that you've had with your team.
Sure. So we started with our external facing career site. We knew we had to be more engaging, a simpler path to application, and offer more personalized experiences. And what we've been able to do through in artificial intelligence, hardwiring within our careers page, is offer that to candidates, which is going to go ahead and become more personalized, but also drive them to jobs that are more of a natural fit. So we have seen a spike in applicants, which has been great. And then the roadmap going forward. So whether it's a CRM, a candidate relationship management tool, we're able to stay connected via text, via email, via campaign, and then you stack on that, so you make it easy to apply, generate more candidates. How about that interview scheduling that we talked about? So later this summer, we'll be rolling out the intelligent chatbot, but also high volume interview scheduling, where we're able to say, hey, chatbot on the external career site, would you like to talk to a recruiter? Yes. Well, here's your schedule. Let's schedule that now. Could that be later the same day? Could be if there's availability. Takes away that back and forth. So it's quality, it's quantity, it's speed. It's kind of traditional talent acquisition, kind of that formula, but it's bringing it all together, and it's exciting to partner.
Yeah, no, that roadmap, and I think it can be the natural progression for anyone looking for technology to simplify the process. And I love that roadmap of you getting into kind of high volume hiring, because 20,000 plus people a year, that's high volume for sure, especially with multiple locations and obviously the dire need in healthcare. So when we think about your brand, right, and differentiating your healthcare brand to anybody else, how do you think about that? And again, as much as you want to talk about, but how do you differentiate what you're doing comparatively, and how do you celebrate that story?
I would say it's authenticity. So working in healthcare, there's a natural draw. There is a natural, are we compassionate? Are we passionate? Do we want to drive towards providing care to the communities we serve? For us, it's sharing that authentic message of the ministry, who we are, dating back decades, supporting people, supporting communities, and supporting each other. So whether it's from I saw a job advertisement, I interacted with your career site, talked with a recruiter, had a great onboarding experience, day 1 to day 100, is it a true story? Are we being our true selves and articulating that? Both saying, this is who we are, let's learn more about you, let's see if this is a great match, and let's get you hired.
I'm seeing more and more across the industry, as I talk to industry leaders like you across the multiple industries, that true, authentic, here's who we are, this is our purpose, is one of the most important value propositions. And I don't know if that was necessarily the case 15 years ago, although you still needed to be authentic. I think it was, I need a job and I'll work, based on proximity to my home or whatever, what have you. I think a lot of people today are really measuring their time and saying, when I work, I want to do something that I believe in, and that is true to my purpose, and my purpose aligns with the purpose of the organization I'm with. And I certainly feel like that is a differentiator with you and your team and the ministry, because that is a true sense as I've gotten to know some of the people on your group. So then let's talk about some of the headwinds then. Right now, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics says that 8.4 million new jobs are going to be added by 2031. That's a long way away. But it's going to be added year over year. But a third of those jobs are going to come in healthcare. We also know that there has been a desperate need for RNs, registered nurses, and that specific kind of middle, top of license, right? That middle group of professionals that provide so much of the care and expertise in hospitals and whatnot. You face challenges like everyone else. Talk a little bit about those headwinds and then some of the successes that you've started to see month over month as you've started to partner technology and people together.
So within healthcare, I talked about scaling the experience from a talent acquisition perspective. Healthcare will have to operate differently. We'll have to find ways to operate at scale, knowing the aging population, knowing, cost of labor the past few years has risen dramatically, and rightfully so. We needed to get enough people in to care for the communities that we serve. So when we talk innovation in the talent, setting, human resources setting, some of the best partnership we can offer as HR professionals, talent professionals, is bringing that vision to other executive teams, operational executives. How can we operate differently? How can we enable our people differently and set them up for what we know is coming, which is it's not getting any easier.
Yeah.
So, right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's I guess that's what I'm saying. So you're almost building a foundation today, not just for today. You talked a little bit about that earlier. You're really building a foundation because you're seeing down the street and around the corner, and you're saying, hey, we see the stats. We know the pressure our team is under to staff. We've got to start to build and scale something now that's going to help us actually staff for the future too.
Absolutely. That's in our mind, it's year over year. How can we continue to become more efficient, more productive, higher quality services at lower cost? And again, the only way to do that is to operate differently and to hardwire that foundation through technology to enable those successes. It's that partnership. Technology, great people, great service, great care for our patients.
Yeah, I love that. So I think the other piece that I'm hearing though is technology is a platform that helps you scale. Great people using that technology, and we'll talk a little bit about adoption in just a second with your recruiting team and your internal team. I'm also hearing though that if you don't have a story, right, that true purpose, authenticity to put into that in that great process, you're going to be lacking. So it's really all of those pieces put together. So talk about your team and as you've implemented the Phenom platform, the adoption, and have people's jobs changed internally then?
Yeah, so I love the story wrapping around technology. It's the heart of who we are, our ministry is, and with more data available than ever before for you, for me, for our candidates, that authenticity becomes it just rings so true. So our team is looking forward, is saying, okay, how we operated to get us here cannot be how we operate us to get us there. So there is a large change management focus.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do we adapt? How do we act differently knowing this may be uncomfortable? This is new to us, but we're going to do this together. We're going to figure it out together. If we make a mistake, hopefully it's a small mistake, we'll learn, we'll improve, and we'll go after it again. And we're going to rally around each other. I think one of the biggest traits of a successful talent acquisition team, having each other's backs, being there for each other, learning for each other, learning together, improving together, and delivering great outcomes together.
Yeah, I think it's been really impressive as I've had an opportunity to kind of be on the inside track and watching you and your team implement Phenom. It's actually been a really great thing to be able to watch the change management process. And I often tell people when they ask, what could get in the way of the technology working? I said, well, certainly you want to implement correctly, but it's people that can get in the way of the technology unless you really go through a change management and invite people to experiment and to try something new. Because we'll sometimes actually stay in something that's harder because it's something familiar, rather than moving something new just because it's unknown. That's just human nature. So to go through a change management process like that, I think is fantastic. I think the other thing to delve into though with your group is the fact that you have such alignment from your senior level, right? CEO, CHRO, CTO, around building kind of this idea of a vision of a frictionless talent experience. What do you think the formula is? Why is it that your senior leadership team is focused so heavily on people, where I do find that a lot of CEOs kind of want to Heisman the talent thing and make it an HR problem. And I really see this as a business challenge at Bon Secours Mercy Health. Not, hey, HR, you take care of it. That alignment is pretty special. Is it important inside of your organization to have that alignment? And how have you seen it?
Yeah, it's absolutely one of our competitive differentiators. I'm surrounded by incredible talent, whether it's the team I work with every day, my boss, his boss, our CEO. It's easy to say we're going to invest in talent, but to do it, to back it, that's what makes it different. And to do it with discipline, where you're going to say, this is how, here's the strategy, here are the tactics, we're plan the work the plan. We are going to realize that we're going to invest in people. We're going to create almost pathways where we're shepherds of talent. It's not a pass or fail, but how can we help you grow, navigate, do it on your terms. Do it easily, whether you're currently employed, looking for a new job, or you're looking to join the ministry from the outside. You have to invest, you have to back that investment, and then you have to be able to articulate that value, not only to your internal teams as you change manage, but to your operational partners. This is why we should do this. This is the value you will receive. And this is why we're going to call this play.
Yeah. So. Well, I certainly hope that our listeners take this 35 or 45 seconds, snip it out, then send it to their CEO if they're having resistance, because I do think that so much of challenges that businesses face is that there's a block between the talent solutions and getting into that problem solving and actually getting into that C-suite. And I think that's a differentiator in your ministry as well, is that you have such a people-centric organization, top down, bottom up. And I see that in the time, talent, and treasure that you're putting against this initiative. And again, like I said, your title alone says so much about what your organization's willing to do and committed around that. As far as, like, for instance, let's talk about, like, for instance, RNs.
Sure.
That's been a headwind that every organization in healthcare is facing. Talk about some of these kind of early opportunities that you've seen to put in the win column for your group based on using this new kind of Phenom platform with a great team and a great purposed message out in the marketplace.
Absolutely. So if I'm a nurse, I know I can call pretty much any healthcare talent acquisition team, and they would love to talk to me. The need is there. So how do you stand out when every healthcare organization is in need of this sought after talent? So it's engaging, it's differentiating, and it's offering simple, personalized paths where a nurse may interact with our career site and go, oh, this is different. Like, I don't have to search 10,000 things to get to the role that may suit me, or like roles that may suit me. Oh, well, the application experience is rather simple and easy. Oh, I signed up for a talent community and now I get a text or a call or an email. It's this natural engagement that connects, and it gives us the chance to tell our story. We want that opportunity. Allow us to tell you who we are. We'd love to invite you in and partner alongside.
So lowering the barriers, using the career site, and I think also we'd be remiss in not mentioning is that the career site and the storyline there is working when your recruiters aren't, right? It's every day, all day long, especially when we know that people are looking for work or being interrupted to look for work in those non-traditional moments, right? It's Saturday morning, it's Friday night, when we've got other things that we want to do. So having that tool work, it's kind of the workhorse of the organization. And since you've implemented, you've seen some pretty cool statistical evidence that you're actually increasing your play inside of that world of nurses, right?
Absolutely. So it was almost kind of the light switch. We go live and we see applicant flow, nurse applicant flow, up. It goes up. It's an uptick, and it's going, okay, so there's something here, there's something to build off, and it's that early win that you can show a team, because the months of build to go live, and then it's celebratory because we're seeing those outcomes and those results. So yes, some more candidates. We've been able to fill more jobs, really lower our vacancy rate, which is delivering value directly back to our our ministry. and directly to those patients at the bedside who are getting that reliable and just impeccable care that they deserve.
Yeah, well, and it's great. It's great to talk about theory and strategy all day long, but to then truly implement it, and like you said, a light switch, turn it on and start to see that strategy come to life, is probably one of the most rewarding things that executive can have, right? Is I concept this out, sell it into the organization, get the investment, get the team on board, and now we're actually seeing the results. That's got to be really fulfilling for you and your team to be able to see some of those instantaneous impacts, especially when it comes right back down to what you said, right down to bedside care.
That's what we always center around. So when you make these investments, these bets, you rally as a team, and when it works, I'm smiling right now. So it's again, the power of the work, the healthcare setting, what we do, what we're able to deliver. We're all on board to help try to save and improve lives every single day.
Well, and I think it doesn't matter what the market bears, that is the calling. And I think as we start to summarize this up, it feels to me too that you're not only playing for the short game because you have to fill vacancies today, but I also hear you talking about really playing to the long-term headwind game that healthcare is going to face by building communities, having people say, you may not be ready to work for us today, but at least join a community so that we can be in communication with you because you might want to work for us tomorrow.
Sure.
And making sure that you make healthcare accessible to people that maybe haven't even considered it. Are you seeing industry flips? Are you seeing opportunity for people where industries, maybe opportunities are going down and you're kind of being able to flip people and bring people over into healthcare?
Absolutely, and it's hardwiring systems to make that achievable for those individuals. How can we welcome you, open our arms and say, have you ever considered healthcare? Would you like to? Whether it's a licensed position, an administrative position, how can we create these accessible pathways to either get you on board, the training, the certification, to join some of the most rewarding work, I would say, in the world.
Yeah, well, and I love that too, and I love the concept too that you do some of those things where you're helping people pay for that certification or that education they need to bridge the gap between their skill level today and the skill level they need to be able to step into healthcare. And I think those are those pieces of investment, we're on purpose again, that I think makes you and your ministry stand out in a pretty significant way.
It is. So when I talk to, are you living what you say? Are you investing? Paying for certifications, offering advice and counsel on how to obtain these degrees or different pathways you could have. You have to invest the time, the treasure, as you said, to build for the long game, to build those talent pipelines that will continue to bear the results that we need them to bear for the years ahead.
So Bon Secours Mercy Health and your team are running a sprint and a marathon at the same time. Yeah. You have deep purpose and a sense of kind of outcome that I think is pretty phenomenal. And I'm super excited to see how over the next year you continue to embed the technology and that AI-empowered platform with a great group of people and an amazing story to tell, because I think that is the difference maker. So best of luck to you, and excited to kind of go on this journey with you.
Hey, I appreciate that, Jess. We are excited. And I'm sure we'll be sharing more in the months ahead.
Without question, and I know because this is a healthcare topic that our listeners are going to tune in, and I think this is really going to be beneficial for the market overall, as well as people start to think, how do we make sure that we're providing care in places that maybe Bon Secours Mercy Health isn't? And certainly I think I love that spirit that you've had, which is share the intelligence, share the tactics, share the strategies, because we have to, the tide can rise all boats. And I love that kind of transparency and purposefulness that you've had in sharing kind of some of these insights with other healthcare leaders.
Absolutely. It's something that was hardwired kind of into my leadership brand early on in my career. You raise the water, all boats raise. The communities, the patients, the work, pretty much an open book on a lot of practices and how we get there.
Well, we're excited to be partnering with you. Thanks for the time today, and we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Jess.
All right, you're welcome.
Yep.
So that was a great discussion with Eric. Eric, thank you so much for the time. I love what he said about unhandcuffing his recruiters to allow them to operate at the top of their game and using technology to do that. So there's three things that I took away today. Number one is remember that we can often get fixated with the problem. There's so much pressure in the talent acquisition game today that we can sometimes say, oh, it's a problem, it's a problem, it's a problem. What I love today is that Eric and his team work with a solutions mindset instead. So they recognize the problem, they state the problem, but they move into a proactive stance right away to say, how do we solve to it? And certainly technology has been a part of that, but also some really creative, innovative ways of making sure that they're helping their healthcare system stand out. One of those, though, is differentiating their employment brand or their EVP with an authentic story about who they are at Bon Secours Mercy Health, and making sure that the value proposition that they feel that they can fundamentally provide to their healthcare providers is absolutely on point. So what you see is what you get once you decide to be a part of the operation. So I love the idea of telling the truth about your brand and making that truth compelling to make people want to jump in with you. And then the third one is with that authentic EVP or employment brand, making sure that you're using a nimble AI-empowered tool, certainly like a Phenom tool that Bon Secours Mercy Health uses, but making sure you're using technology to be able to actually give that personalized career experience for each individual talented person that you're trying to hire, but making sure that that personalized experience also is wrapped inside of that value proposition and that EVP that your company holds near and dear. So, hey, thank you again for joining me, Jess Elmquist, your host of Smarter. Let's all get smarter together.